Courtland Sutton, welcome. Let's go back to the beginning. What was the recruitment process like?
It was what it was. I was being in the heart of Texas. I had UT, Texas A&M, TCU, all those teams that I grew up seeing and watching. And unfortunately, I wasn't recruited too heavily by any of those schools. And whenever SMU came around, my family and I knew that was the place to be. I went on my visit. I signed on my visit. I knew that was the place that I needed to be in. It was the best opportunity and the best spot for me. And after praying about it with my family, we knew that was the place I needed to be, and it turned out to be the spot for sure.
Signing on your visit, it happens, but it's still nuts. So what was it about you being there with your family? What was the exact moment you realized during that visit, okay, I'm coming here?
There were some dudes that I talked to while I was on my visit that wound up becoming some of my best friends, some guys that I consider my brothers to this day. And talking to those dudes who were saying, we want to do something bigger than ourselves. And SMU was a place where it's in the heart of Dallas, and we knew that we had the opportunity to make it something that we wanted it to be. We just had to come in and be committed to understanding that it was going to be a lot of work, and we had to grind through it. And all those dudes that I wound up playing with, we all grinded through it. We had some rough seasons, but we ultimately left the university better than how we found it. And that's the theme that I'm pretty sure if you ask any person that goes into a situation like we went into, that's what they want to do. They want to be able to leave the university better than how they found it. And we honestly can say that we did that.
Now, I ask you about SMU because a lot of guys make it to the league, but barely any of them have the amount of success that you've had so early. So what was it about SMU that prepared you to just come on the scene like this?
It was a lot of the brotherhood that I had made when I was there. And then there were a lot of mentors that I wound up gaining through being there for the years I was there, from strength coaches to me and my receivers coach have such a tight bond to this day. I go to his house and stay with him, he and his family every year in the off season for like a weekend or a few days, and just enjoy his company because he's a guy who I wouldn't have had the progression as a young man and the maturity without him being in my life. And so I'm grateful for him. And there was a lot of people who were there. They were off the scenes, behind the scenes that impacted my life, whether it was in the classroom, whether it was somebody that lived in my dorm, whether it was another teammate. There were so many things that happened to me while I was there that I wouldn't take back anything that I've learned, anything that I was able to attain while I was there, because all the knowledge and the maturity that I learned and was able to grow through, it made me into the person I am today. And I'm grateful for everybody that got me to this spot.
Now, in regards to your skill set, what was maybe underdeveloped as you left college that you are confident in now?
Shoots, my route running. I thought it's funny because I thought I was this complete receiver. I'm hearing all these
confidence. The confidence is good though.
Right,
confidence
for sure.
Is good.
I'm thinking that I'm this complete receiver. I'm hearing about all these people saying, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. I'm a prideful guy in my work. A prideful guy in the craft that I put on the field. I'm thinking, man, I am good at that. I am good at that. And I go back and I watch film of myself when I was coming out of college and to now, and it's ridiculous the amount of progress I've made to this point from then. And it's also it's scary to me to know that amount of progress that I've had, because I know that there's still more.
So much more to go.
And I'm looking forward to the near future and all the things that I can acquire while I'm still pushing forward to get the best out of myself.
You've accomplished so much and you're thankful for it, but clearly the future is so much brighter. So what would you tell a rookie receiver who's getting ready for the combine, getting ready for the draft right now? What would you tell them as far as advice so that they could be in this situation 2 years into their career?
Go into it with an open mind. I was fortunate enough to go into a room with 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers, and Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and I went in there like a sponge. I went in there saying, I'm gonna acquire as much knowledge I possibly can from these guys, because they're 2 dudes who won a Super Bowl. They've been to Pro Bowls, they've been all pros, they've had all the accolades that dudes want to have, and I would be a very uneducated individual if I walked into that room acting like I knew everything that there was about the position. I sat in there and I sat next to Demaryius and I studied everything I possibly could about him. I watched him at practice. I asked him as many questions I possibly could, and just to get to learn the position and then also learn how to do the things away from the game that people don't see, how to take care of my body, how to study, how to prepare for a game. The way I prepare for a game in college is completely different than how I prepare for a game in the NFL, and it's fitting that you have to adjust to the circumstances that you're put in. And that's one thing that I knew going into the situation. I was like, I can't go in here thinking I know everything, because then, I'm gonna get left behind. So I went in there. I have a really good receiving coach at in Denver, and Coach Azani. And I'm grateful for my coach, with Demarius and Emmanuel, because those guys could have came in and looked at us and said, these young guys are coming
Cold
in.
shoulder,
Right,
push you away.
right, exactly. Try to push away and say, these dudes, they brought these dudes in here to try to, replace us. But Demarius never once looked at me and said, I'm not gonna help you. If I asked him a question, he would give me an answer. If I asked him for advice, he would give me advice. And even to this day, I can call him and ask him for advice on anything, and we just talk, about life and about ball and anything. And it's cool to have that experience, and to know that there are people who are willing to give that knowledge. And he doing that for me, it gave me a perspective. That's how it should be done when another young group of receivers come into a room. I always look at, some people say those older guys might look at the young guys as competition. Yeah, they're competition, but competition is everywhere you go. Is you can't look at that as being afraid of it. You got to look at it as, all right, that's competition, but let me continue to work my game, work my craft, and continue to grow myself. And if I'm doing that, then whatever else is going on over there will take care of itself. And I know I'm gonna take care of myself, because I'm not gonna allow anything to slip through the cracks, and continue to work like I'm supposed to, continue to stay like I'm supposed to, continue to take care of my body like I'm supposed to, and things are gonna work like it's supposed to.
That's the way to look at it, man. That's beautiful. So I don't know how much college football you watched this past season when you were out there tearing it up in Denver, but I don't know. I know this sounds crazy, but I think college receivers are getting better.
Oh man, it's crazy.
What is happening right now in college football? These receivers look unguardable.
Man, they're hungry. They're hungry, and it's one thing that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to, and it's crazy you say that. Is these younger guys playing 7-on-7 is allowing them to adapt skills
earlier. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Earlier than just saying, all right, we're gonna throw y'all right into tackle football. It's like when you put them into such a skillful set of 7-on-7 where it's not as much contact. It's more of a, how can you play this skilled position with skill, and it's allowing them to develop into these true athletes and not just meathead thumpers, with pass on. And you really see it, like when you play 7-on-7, everybody knows it's two-hand touch. You got these dudes who don't want to be touched, and they play as though when they have the ball in their hand, they don't want to be touched. And they, you can see it. They have the speed, they have the agility, and all of these things that they're making the catches that, a lot of people don't think should be made or could be made. And it's also fun to watch. We have a receiver at SMU who's coming out right now, and James Prochet, and the dude is ridiculous. He went through and he broke mine and Emmanuel's records. He broke all of our records at SMU, which is a crazy thing to think about, but he did it. And I mean, it doesn't just happen overnight. He works, and watching him work, being a young bull when I was there, watching his work ethic and watching him grind to be able to have the success that he's having right now, it's fun to see. And these, like you said, these young receivers coming out, they're a handful. And I know that these GMs and these scouts have their hands full trying to, decipher the real from the fake and who can do it, who can't do it. But I will say that there are a lot of really good, pure athletes that are coming out in that receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that there will be 10 receivers taken in the first round, if not more. What advice would you give to them for that very first day of OTAs? Hey, I know you're the man at your school right now, but you are about to be nobody all over again, no matter how high you just got drafted. What advice would you give for day one?
Humble and hungry. That's it. That's all you can be, humble and hungry. Whether you go top 5, whether you go top 10, for anywhere in the first round, you got to go into whatever locker room you're going into with as much humbleness as you possibly can, because you're going to have somebody, whether they play in your position or not, you're going to have an old head who, if you go in there with, this arrogance of, I'm that guy, I got drafted in the first round, don't talk to me, blah, 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 you're going to have some old head that's in there that's going to check you real quick and let you know, you haven't done nothing in this league yet. You might have got drafted here or whatever, but you haven't done nothing in this league yet, so you need to humble yourself. So I would say, like I said, go in there, be humble and hungry, continue to do the things that got you to that point to get you drafted in the first round. Continue to do those things, taking care of yourself, ignoring the distractions. I think that's a big thing is, guys come in and, we go from college where you getting a per diem of $1,000 or whatever, and you sign a contract worth, millions. A whole
lot more.
Right, worth millions, and that can be a distraction for some people. And so go into it understanding your priorities, football, God first, football is right there next to your family, and you got to make that, keep it dear to you. You know, the money will always be there, and if you continue to do the things that you did to get yourself there, the money will take care of itself. Just go into the locker room, understanding that, as my weight coach said, it says SAS, still ain't shit, you know? And it's a real thing, you know? I was joking with him about it before I came here, actually, and you know, it's a real thing. If you go in with that motto your whole career, no matter you 10 years in, you go to 10 Pro Bowls, you all pro however many times, you win Super Bowls, this and that, if you continue that motto of still ain't shit, you know, it's a thing that will develop your character and continue to grow you, because it lets you know that, you know, there's still more to be attained from yourself.
Someone has to throw the ball to these young receivers coming up. Is there any quarterback that caught your eye that's about to be a rookie?
Honestly, if Tua didn't get hurt, Tua would be that dude. I think a lot of people be talking about Tua a lot more than they are right now. I really like Jalen Hurts. The dude is a competitor. He likes to compete. You can see it hurts him when he loses, and that's something that you want to see. You don't want to see somebody who's like, you know, when they lose, it's like a shoulder shrug. It don't really bother them. You can tell that it bothers him when he loses, and I know I love having dudes like that around me, surrounded by me, because when you have a lot of people who are like-minded in terms of what they see as success. Some people might see success as, we lost, but I had mine. That's not really, you know, success. Success is, if we win as a team, that's success, because ultimately, if we win as a team, you see all the success coming into play, and that's the thing, being able to surround yourself with those type of people. So I like Jalen Hurts. I think Trevor Lawrence coming out next year is going to be really huge. The dude is a baller as well. He plays the game at a high level, and Jalen Hurts, whoever gets him, they're going to get a whole competitor. He's going to go in and change or continue any program's culture, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch him go do what he does.
You're having a lot of success now, a lot more success to come, but when you think back to your time at SMU, what do you miss most?
Man, SMU, we might not have had, you know, the 50, 70,000 people at our games, but the fans that did come to our games, they were true, diehard fans of ours, and it was fun to, you know, be able to play in a place where the fans that were there, they were true fans. Whether we were winning or we were losing, they were gonna come up, they were gonna show out, and they were gonna be very loyal to us. And you know, you have some schools who, if they're not having a good year, there's not gonna be anybody at the games. If they're having a really good year, you're gonna have all of these people who just show up and say, "Oh, I'm a such and such fan." It's like, where was y'all at when we was having a rough patch?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
We at SMU. It's sad to say, but it happened. You know, my first year there, we were 1-11. We went 2-10, 5-7, and 7-5. And
that's more wins each year, though.
Exactly. But the 1-11s and 2-10s were rough. But you know, like I said, the fans that did come there, they were loyal to us. And even though we were having such rough patches, there were people who were going to continue to support us. And the people that I played with while I was there, they all cared so much about each other and wanted to be successful so bad. And our class that came in, we left it better than how we found it. And that's the thing that we were proud of. You know, we might not have won a national championship or did anything like that, but we took, you know, a program that was rock bottom. They had us, I think it's 128 teams in college football. We was 127 at one point, and that's rough, you know, to see that, to hear people say, oh, this SMU is one of the worst teams in college football, and you grinding in some workouts, you grinding in winter conditioning to try to get the program where you needed to get to, and to not have the success immediately was rough, but to be able to leave it better than how we found it, you know, that's a bond that, you know, I think a lot of us will be able to hold on to for a long time, to be able to say that we were able to do that, and to get SMU into a spot where the next year they competed for a bowl, then this year they've done amazing things. They were ranked like 12, I think, at one point in the nation, which is, I mean, you go from 127 in the nation 3-4 years ago to ranked 12th in the nation.
Top 15.
You know, that's amazing. That's a blessing. And so it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch them grow. And Coach Dykes is doing an amazing job at SMU. And I'm proud of the university. I'm proud of everybody, that the program just continuing to grow and continue to take those strides to continue to be a respected, dominant university in the state of Texas with so many powerhouses around us.